What's good, y'all? It's Joshua Myers, aka Mobon Kiki, and today we're going to talk about Baltimore Comic-Con and just how the convention went, how I got there, all that good stuff. I applied to their convention on their website. All you got to do is look up Baltimore Comic-Con and look for the vendor or artist alley section so you can find the applications for all of that. But yeah. I applied on there. I responded quite late because I was looking at my my Google sheet. I put every convention I plan on going to and how much I made, how much it costs to how much the tables cost and all that. I put all of that into a Google sheet. And as I was doing that, I seen Baltimore and I was like, I don't know if I've heard back from them. So I looked. I was a few months late and knew I was a few months late to looking. And I saw that I got accepted. So I text back. Well, I emailed them back and they still had room. So I was like, might as well go, because I only got one other show for this year, and that is GalaxyCon in December. But yeah, so I did that and I had to find a hotel. I booked through booking.com and I ended up finding an apartment that was literally just 10 minutes away. So I didn't even have to park each day. And we're going to get into the parking. So parking. As y'all know, these conventions like to hire the prices when they have events. And like, it'd be too much money, y'all. Like, I remember going to, I think it was in Atlanta. Nope, not Atlanta. In Indiana. It was $45+ just to park in the parking garages that were close. And when you're setting up, you're going to want to pay for that. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to, but you kind of need to, because you need to be somewhere close so you get everything in, especially if you're carrying a lot. And for this Comic-Con, it was $60. So, of course, I'm like, nah, I'm not paying that. So, that's each day. Even setup day was $60. And I didn't make it on time for setup. So I'm glad I didn't have any mishaps on that. But they don't own the garage themselves. So I think that's kind of what plays into it with that. And they did give us another resource. So make sure y'all look at y'all's emails when y'all do get into conventions, because they'll give you resources sometimes for other places, other things you can use to park. I found a garage that was across the street. I only had to pay $34 the first day. I walked on the second day since I had everything set up. And then on the third day, I parked and it was only 20 something. And it was in the exact same spot as I did that Friday. So yeah. Make sure them parking costs aren't as expensive as the main part where everybody goes. So yeah, on day one, I had parked there, found where everything was, and I saw a few people that I've seen before. Some people that I've met through Freestyle Comics and others that I've met on my own while at different conventions. So it's always nice to see familiar faces at these places. A lot of these people ended up at New York Comic-Con the week before. So that's wild how many people I've talked to. And they was like, yeah, we was just at New York Comic-Con last weekend. I want to see how that is, But the first day, it's like a normal Friday, People like to just walk by. If they see something they absolutely want, they get it. And if not, they'll just kind of linger around, walk past, do the usual. A usual Friday. So that gave me time to really get to meet a few other artists and catch up with the others that, I've seen before. I don't really have much to say about day one other than that, because not much happened, Made a good amount. I made more that Friday than I did on Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah. Now day two, the day I walked. First off, there was a marathon blocking some of the convention. Like, while me and my girl was walking, there was a whole section of cars just not being able to go. And I know that they were so salty because, man, they didn't even know when they was going to be able to open again because, you know, everybody got to run. And there was a protest, you know, the No Kings protest. And, yeah, that was it. That was it. So we got through all that, and we knew that would mess with the traffic for the convention. You know, like this is a bad time to have the convention low key because everybody's focused on these other things or are attending these other things that are just as important. And, well, way more, honestly. I dropped something. But, yeah, I'm going to keep that in there. So that happened. That messed with the traffic. But it is the best. It was still the best day out of the 3 when it comes to money and meeting other people, exchanging business cards, you know, all of that. Now, I will say, for those of you who haven't gone to conventions, or even if you do, try to make sure you keep your business cards in your pocket. Like, not all of them, I'm just saying like a good handful. Your pocket, your wallet, something on your person. That way, when you're walking around and meeting all these other people, even if you don't have a table yourself, you know, if you have a business, walk around with your cards at that convention or really anywhere, period, because you never know who you're going to meet. Carry around your business cards. I made sure while I was out that I was handing out my business card right after I got to talk with some people, and I got their business card, you know, exchanged information, etc., etc. So always do that. It's very important. It's the only way people are really going to be able to like really get to know you, get to see your stuff if they're actually interested. And it's like business cards don't cost. They cost, but not too much. You know, you get a lot of them. So make sure you're able to give those out. I did get to meet David Finch. I was very happy about that because I always seen his videos on YouTube growing up. You know, I'm 23 now, and I used to see a bunch of his things in like middle and high school because he'd be on Proco and then his own YouTube channel itself. So that was a highlight. I got to meet a few other people too. I can't think of them by name at the moment, but yeah, when I say Baltimore Comic-Con is a very good place to network, get to meet new people, make some friends, like do that. Do that at Baltimore Comic-Con. Like that's something I highly recommend, even if you're not there to sell your own work, you know, like do that. A lot of people were interested in my second book. Well, the first and second. So I've noticed something with my table. People aren't as interested until I tell them what the story is about. And then like they'll be more engaged and they'll actually do it. Like, let's see, I can do the pitch real quick for y'all. So we got my character Asmodeus. It's about a recently appointed Grim Reaper who's trying to maintain the balance between the living and the spirit realm. As he's doing that, he finds an elf named Zola. Zola astral projected in her sleep. So Asmodeus has to find a way to get her back to her body before someone else can take it. Then that's when I have people hooked. I want to find a way to get them hooked before I even fully tell them about it. Because, you know, a lot of people just walk by, and sometimes they'll walk by again and then they'll finally talk to you and then they'll be like, ooh, I want that, you know? Finding ways to get people to gravitate towards your table other than just saying like, hi, are you into dark fantasy? Hi, hello, you know, because they'll say, hi, how are you? Or just hi, or just look at you. Like, look at you crazy. So just finding different business approaches for people to come to my table and see what I'm doing and really get a sense of what it's about. But yeah, Asmodeus Chapter 2 is done. I just have to do a little bit of promo before I'm just giving it out. Like I'm selling it at conventions now, but in terms of like online and all that, not yet. Y'all gonna have to wait a second. I got y'all though. I got y'all. Now for day 3, the slowest day out of the 3. We thought some more traffic would feed in from yesterday since the protest and the marathon, but I don't think that happened. And like when I say it was just too slow, like I was able to leave my table and just make the walkthrough. I had my girl help me the day before to make a little bit of a walkthrough. But I made most of it on the last day, so that's what y'all seen at the beginning of this video. And I was able to chop it up with some other people. Like, I met the people who are part of Konkret Comics. I've always seen their stuff on Instagram, and I believe I've seen their stuff on TikTok too. So it was nice to meet them. I met 3 of them. All of them were writers, and I got one of the books. So I got Acolyte. So I haven't read it yet, but it looks amazing. Shout out Konkret Comics. Yeah, shout out Konkret Comics. Met a bunch of others that I don't have their names on hand. Yeah. Day 3 was slow, so I was able to just go around. Pack up was easy, very quick. We talked to one person right beforehand. He real cool. If I find his info while I'm editing this video, then I'll put it up. But yeah, we got prints from him. All right, I found it. Still got it behind the plastic, so bear with me. Got Wolverine, and we got Deadpool. Like, come on, this is hard. I had to get it. So yeah, shout out to bro. I will put his name right here. But yeah. All right, so now we can get into like the cost. The table was $350. I broke even during the whole convention, so $350. Specifically $350.87. And for like the hotel and stuff, well, the apartment, that was $340 something. And just traveling period, I haven't calculated that yet. But I had to get gas, so that's part of the travel cost. Either way, I broke even with the table, and it was a good show. So even if I was just going there just to go, like, I would have spent that the travel cost. We'll be updating how I do business in terms of what's at my table, what do you see, how I engage with people, and yeah, I'm still learning. So I don't know it all when it comes to the convention stuff, but I am learning as I go, and I'm just showing y'all the journey. I've definitely been learning from each, especially in terms of like what people are looking for, because people want something that they've seen already. Most of the time, there are people who are interested in seeing something new and looking for original characters, but those are like few in between, especially at these shows. But like Baltimore, the thing I did like was it was more catered towards people who also did independent comics, had their own characters. And I don't feel like there's enough of that at other shows that I've been to so far, outside of 5-Star Comic-Con. So, yeah, I do want to implement some more fan art into my work, but I don't want to overwhelm it with it because I still want the main focus to be my book. My book, my characters, and I still want to make prints with them on it too. So like combine, make little scenes with them and the fan art that I'm making, whatever characters there are that I choose to make. But yeah, that's how the prices went for that. I heavily recommend that when you're selling stuff. So I use Square. Instead of just having like a book and then how much that costs, or print, how much that costs, put what specific print it is, put what specific book it is. That way you know exactly what's selling and what's not. And you'll be able to know how to maneuver after that. Because like you'll know when you need to restock a lot sooner. You will know what is in higher demand than the other things that you have. Like I've already sold out of the Zola keychains that my girlfriend made. And let's see, I'm running out of the Asmodeus logo that you see for the Mobile Kiki logo on the metal bookmark that I have. That one's running out. So is the black one with the skulls on it, the Death Stick skulls. So Yeah, yeah. Find what people are getting most from you and structure the business a little bit from that. You know, I'm not saying to not do what you want to do with your business, but there's a reason why this thing is selling. Find why it's selling and continue from there. And I think you'll be green. You'll be good. So, yeah. So I guess the last thing I should answer, would I go again? Was it worth it? I would. I would definitely go again. I don't know if I'll be there in 2026 yet. Some things I want to make sure are certain in my schedule. And I also want to work on the business a bit more. So I don't know how many conventions I'm going to do next year yet. I know a specific few, like GalaxyCon I'm going to do because it's in my hometown. And which other one? 5-Star Comic-Con because they're doing 2 of them next year. Yeah. And I think that's it right now. Oh, Space. Small Press and Alternative Comic Expo. That's another local one here in Columbus, Ohio. So if anyone's interested and is from that area or near that area, it's called Small Press and Alternative Comic Expo. Just look that up on Google. It'll show up, and it's real easy to apply. It's nice to see locals, and the table costs are way less than these other bigger shows. Some to look out for with these shows also. So a lot of these shows have been, there's a reason why a lot of people will recommend smaller shows before going to big ones, because the big ones, the tables cost a lot. Like when I went to Indiana, they only had corner tables left, and those were the most expensive for the artist alley. It was $400 something. This one for Baltimore was $350. And occasionally you'll see some that are like $200. Let me see. Yeah, none of the ones I got this year were $200, but there were a specific few that were less, like the one for Space and 5-Star Comic-Con. And I think that's it. Yeah, all the other ones were in that $300 to $400 range. So expect to spend some money. And that's why, like, you know, a lot of us will really try our hardest to make that, because like it's already hard enough to make your table, but to make the travel costs too, that just adds on to the pressure. And yeah, you just gotta keep rolling with it, learn from it. That way you can make more than that, because we all know there are people making a few thousand, 1,000 or 2, maybe more at shows, and learning from them is like key for real. Even if you don't get to directly talk to them, just studying their booth, how they do the colors on the booth, what they're showing at first, what is it that they want you to see, and how are they guiding your eyes to that? Something to think about. But yeah, my name is Joshua Myers. You can call me Moban Kiki, either one, Josh. And this is the end of the video. I'll see y'all next time.